Hello, one and all, and welcome to a very exciting adventure we're going to have on Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light. I feel Rhonda outdid herself on that. I love the music on that brand, and what she did is beautiful. And so I'm trying to light my little bit of sage here without letting the alarm go off. So blowing a little sage your way. Come on in, everyone. You're welcome with open arms. Today we are going to have a pretty inspiring conversation with June Lundgren. But before we start, I'd like to throw it over to my co-host for the day, Brittany Floyd from Sacred Yen Secrets, for the card of the week.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Okay, so I pulled from the Mystical Wisdom deck written by Gay Guthrie, and the art is by Josephine Wall here. And look how beautiful that is. And the card says infinity, seek clarity. To experience an infinity is to have a sudden realization or spiritual flash that will change the way you view yourself and others around you. You get to see the situation more clearly, as if someone just switched on the light. With this clarity, you can see the truth. You will also gain a sense of control within yourself to make positive decisions that will bring about happy and joyful outcomes. And the mantra is, yeah, I can see clearly now.
Just like the song. No.
Yeah, I can see clearly now.
I love it.
I love that,
it.
yeah.
Well, as you see here, we've got June Lundgren, and she's a returning guest. And she has a new book out. But was it last May your book came out? So it's not like brand new. It's just newer than the
Yeah, it was last May, but the newest one I have was released in June. It's called Dark Encounters.
Oh, okay. I was looking all over for this, Dark Encounters. Thank you.
It's 15 of the darkest encounters that I've had dealing with.
Wow, that's exciting. I'm already getting chills. So first of all, let's tell the people who you are. You're a dragon seer, kind of like a demon seer. I got dragons on the brain now. It's easy to explain though. A demon seer. So what is a demon seer, and what do you provide? What do you do?
Well, in the old country, my grandmother's from Ireland, and there was a family prophecy that was handed down from the 14th century. And it was handed down to female in the lineage, because the women in our family are the only ones with abilities. So it said that there would be born a female child who would have the ability to hear, communicate, see demons in their true form, and kill them. And I was kind of dumped on my grandmother a few days old, and she raised me, and she said that she knew the moment that she got me in her arms that I was what the prophecy being fulfilled was. So, when I started helping people with demonic removals and stuff like that, it became evident, and I don't call myself an exorcist, because I don't like that. I've seen and met fake ones. So to me, it has a negative connotation. So that's why I call myself a demon seer.
Oh, that's interesting. So then what would the difference be between an exorcist and what you do?
Well, the definition of an exorcist is someone who studies demons, and I don't study them. They have nothing I want to hear. I just kill them. And that's the big difference. I actually deal with the demons themselves and kill them. So.
Wow.
Yeah, that is. What's been the most intense experience that you've had as a demon seer, and how did you navigate that?
Probably the woman with 11 demons within her. I had to do an
Wow.
exorcism on her.
Wow.
I mean, that was
Wow.
the worst. That was the worst one so far as possessions go. But because she did have 11, and there were, I didn't know it at first. I did a show called Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis, and I got over 300 requests for help in the first week. And she was one of the people that requested help. She said that she had, she was possessed for 20 years. And I'm like, well, is this mental illness or is this real? So I said, send me a picture. So she sent me a picture. I'm like, oh, crap. Yeah, that's what she's got. All right. And I have a friend who's an ordained minister. And I have another friend that's part of my group, Ghosts and Girls Paranormal. And God told me, he says, you need to ask Aaron to come with you because he has a fear of the dark ones. And you cannot have a fear of the dark ones and serve me.
Oh, okay.
So I called him. I said, you need to come. I said, because this is for you as much as anything. I told him, I said, make sure you're protected. And I told my friends as well, make sure you're protected. So we get there and I knock on the door and the door is thrown open. And the woman it really wasn't the woman. The eyes were black and she was growling at me in Aramaic, saying, bitch, go away, and then slammed the door. My friends look at each other like, what? I'm like, don't worry about it. It's okay. I got the door again. And this time she was in control for the moment. And so we went inside, and usually it doesn't take me too long to do removals, a few minutes, but with 10 of, with 11, it took me about 3 hours from start to finish.
Wow.
But the first 10 were not that hard to remove. But the last one was a pain in the rear because it had gone against Lucifer. It was given a job to do by Lucifer, and it just said, I'm not doing it, and left. And so it took up residence in this woman along with its friends. And I said, well, you can go home to the light. I said, you can go home. I told the demon, if you're repentant and you want to go home, you can. And it questioned me like, really? I said, yeah. And I said, Jesus, come forth. My friends are standing in front of me, and I'm standing behind the woman who's sitting in a chair. And my friends parted as this huge white arm and hand came forward towards the woman.
Wow.
And I told the demon, I said, see, I said, you could go home if you want to. And then it said, no, I can't. You're lying. I can never go home. And so it just retracted back into her. And I said, so be it, because I have the ability to look into the demon's mind and find out why it's there, what it's been doing, that sort of thing. And I said, it's fine. I said, Lucifer's looking for you. I said, so be it. I said, Lucifer, come forth. And he manifested at the end of the hallway and walked towards us. And my friends are like, oh, and my friend told me later, he said, for a split second, he said, I thought you were crazy. And then I remembered who you were. And he said, and then I understood. And what they saw was like a 6-foot shadow person with, fedora, double-breasted suit, spats, that type of thing. I saw him in his true form. But when he came, he told the demon, said, you're, come out of that woman. You're coming with me. And the demon's like, no, I'm not. And Lucifer looked at me and said, I know you don't want me to harm the woman, so I will be back for it later. And so I told the woman, this is what's going on. He'll be back for it later tonight, so don't worry about it. And we all went home. And at 3 a.m., we all woke up in our respective beds and heard Lucifer say it's done. And then I rolled over and went back to sleep. I called her the next morning and I said, you need to get some help. I said, you have PTSD from dealing with these things. And she says, I haven't felt like this in 20 years. I feel empty. I'm like, that's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling. I mean, come on, And the last thing I knew, she was in therapy. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's good. What are some, What are some spiritual tools or practices that you use to protect yourself from the dark entities, like while you're working and whatnot?
I really don't have to protect myself in the way that most humans do,
Mm-hmm.
because when 2000, 80, 85, 84, I died and went to the other side, and my grandparents were there, and Michael was there, the archangel, and he said, "Listen, you're here because you need to understand who and what you are." And I said, "Yeah, I'm just me." And he said, "No, no, no, you're thinking like a human." And he touched my forehead, and I changed. I looked more like him, 7 feet tall, 12-foot wingspan, and dark auburn hair and whitish blue eyes. And he says, "This is who you truly are." He said, "Your body was created to hold the archangel Ariel." He said, "She was sent down as a demon slayer." I said, "That is your job. You need to start doing the job in this lifetime." So I'm like, "Okay, you got to give me some airy fairy stuff, man. You got to give me the nasty stuff." He says, "That's because Ariel is good at it. She loves doing it. It's what she's good at. And you will too." So he said, "You need to go back now." So I went back. I woke up, and the poor cop that was trying to get me to resuscitate me was happy to see me open my eyes. And Michael and I had a conversation later, and I told him, I said, "Do you want me to do this stuff?" I said, "These guys can kill my ass." And he's like, "No, they can't." He said, "For one," he says, "I protect the body and Ariel protects the body." He said, "And for two, if you die, Ariel is released and she is free to kill them, to wreak havoc on them." And they don't want that either because they fear her. So it's like, oh, okay. So from that day on, I have no doubts about what I can do. I have no fear of them. It's just something I do, and I help others, and that's my reward for doing it. I've had some people that say, "Well, that we charge for this or we charge for that." And I said, "No." I said, "Demon slaying is God's work. You don't charge for that." I said, "If you want to make a donation, fine, for gas or whatever. But, I said, that's God's work. You just don't do that."
Wow. So here's what I want to know, and it might be more than one question. Okay, how, like you were telling us about the woman who had these demons for 20 years. How do we find ourselves with demons like this? How does this happen to us? And what is the difference between human darkness, being possessed by a demon, and of course, the mental illness?
Well, sometimes and getting possessed by one is just, it can be just as simple as being in the wrong place at the right time. It can be that you're having fun summoning demons, or that someone that has one attached to them, and the demon can literally jump from one person to another, and which happens from time to time. But a lot of people think, "Oh, it's just because you're a bad person, blah blah blah." I'm like, no, that's got little to no difference for demons, because if you're already nasty, what good is making your life?
Okay.
They don't bother you.
Wow. So I usually end up now and then, every few years, I end up with a negative entity attachment or something like that. And,
Yeah.
and I get them easy. Like I'm walking through Walmart and there's a lady following me and she sees me. She goes, "Oh, you're so beautiful." But she's pointing all around me. And so I'm thinking, oh, she's seeing all of me and not just me there.
Right.
And so I was listening to her and she is telling me her life story. This always happens, right? And so I put my hand on her shoulder. I'm listening. But by the time I got home, I was having thoughts that were negative, that were not my kind of thoughts. And I was like, okay. And other times it happens and I end up with depression for a prolonged time. Like, what is this?
It's anything that's a negative emotion is what they will facilitate, plain and simple. They'll facilitate it. But because you're a light worker, you're like a candle in the dark, you're like a moth to a flame. They're drawn. So many people complain about that. I said, well, that's why, because you do the work, you are of the light. And so you're basically a target for negative entities, whether it's human or whether it's, demonic.
Okay.
But a lot of people will say, oh, this person is possessed or whatever. But possession rarely happens on a full-time basis, because unless you have more than one demon. If you have more than one demon, one will come, one will go, that sort of thing. Because that's what started the war between heaven and hell. But it only wasn't hell at that time. Lucifer rose up against God and said, we don't want to be physical. We do not want to be subject to living in a shell, being subject to pain, growing old, disease. That's not what we want. So that's what started the war. And then when it ended, Michael disarmed Lucifer, and Ariel disarmed his son. And God says, I'm going to give you exactly what you want, but you can't live among us. So he opened a rift into a dark realm of existence and put him in there and said, here you go, here's your kingdom. And over the years, at first they were happy about it, because Lucifer's like, yeah, this is mine. You all have to listen to me. I am the head dude. But over the years, they've grown angry and vengeful. And so and when a white light soul is in a physical body, it's at its weakest. We're the most vulnerable when we're in a physical body. And so that's why we're targets. And they want to make your life a living hell. Payback. Revenge.
That makes sense. But I feel, every day I work with my chakras, every day I do the smudge and all that. How does it still happen? I mean, I guess I'm not demon proof like you.
Well, the thing is, it's like, people tell me, oh, well, I wear crystal, crystal for protection. I smudge the house, clear myself and stuff. But that has little to no effect on a demon.
Wow.
I mean, they'd be laughing at you like, what do you think you're doing? Good luck on that one, honey. There's very few things that will protect against a demon. And one of them is having an angel inside of you. Another thing is to prayer. The power of prayer will get them, fend them off, saying God's name, or, wearing a crucifix. If you're a Christian, you wear a crucifix with Jesus on it, but it has to be a lifelike rendition. It cannot be a abstract image. It's true with any religion. If you're Jewish and you have absolute faith in the Star of David, then that will work for you. If you're a Buddhist, it's something else. But for a Christian, it's the image of Jesus. Okay.
Right.
So that's that, and you have to have absolute faith in it, because it's like, I asked Michael one time, I said, why does it take the Catholic Church so long to remove a demon? Because the priests will be like, the exorcists will be like weeks, months, even years trying to rid someone of a demon. And I'm like, I don't understand. And he's like, because they have doubt, whether it's doubt in themselves. Can I do this? Doubt in the process, or doubt in, whether they worry about, well, this thing's going to, attack me if I, try to get rid of it, or if their faith isn't strong, then that's what takes it so long. He says, you have no doubt. You have no doubt in what you're doing, and that you can do it. So that's the difference.
So important.
So you would say, that the power of belief is what really, truly.
Yeah. One of the things I learned when I went to the other side is that thought becomes reality, whether it's the dark realm or the light realm. And it's the intention behind the thought that gives it power, that makes it manifest. So, if you go into, like, Okay, we'll use an example. Even say somebody is using a Ouija board. Okay, so their intention is to contact the light. So that's what they'll get. Another person uses it, their intention is to contact the dark ones. Then that's what you get. It's you get out of it what you put into it. Basically, a Ouija board is just a tool, like anything, like scrying or a crystal ball or tarot cards. It's just a tool, and it's no better or no worse than what you put into it.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I have a story though. It's kind of funny. It's not scary. It's weird. Okay, long time ago, back in California, my daughter and I used to help with the local church on the corner, and we would help serve food to the people, and then they'd have a children's night. So we'd hang out, and it was fun. So they brought a bunch of little hematite, the rock, the hematite crosses.
Yep.
Not one with Jesus on it, just a hematite cross. We brought it home, and we were supposed to put our own string on it and stuff, but we brought it home and showed my daughter's dad, and it burst. Okay, and then so we told the church, oh, here's what happened to it. We didn't drop it. No, as soon as her dad touched it, it burst. So they gave us 2 more because I wanted one because it was a hematite.
Right? Yeah.
Rock. So anyway, we brought them back to him, and as soon as he touched them, they burst. It's like, but my rock, no. So that was weird, wasn't it?
It's like it depends. If he's a light worker, then and there's something negative attached to the object, then it could do that.
Wow.
It could very well do that.
He wasn't a light worker. Not at all.
Not in this lifetime.
Okay, there you go.
But in a past lifetime, he was.
I love that.
So the soul doesn't change. It doesn't. It can't change its spots like a leopard. Yeah.
That's I love that. So going back to your first experience, because I understand this has been in your family for hundreds and hundreds of years, which is exciting. I mean, your first time, okay, you probably heard the legends. You heard, what was your very first time like?
Very first time was when I was little, about 4.5 years old. It changed how I saw demons. Before that, I saw them like most humans, a black mass, a shadow figure, that type of thing. But at 4.5, it changed. I saw them in their true form and Michael came to me and he says, you're seeing them through angelic eyes. He says, you see them as we see them. That's why you see them in their true form. And he says, I want you to watch. I want you to learn. I want you to see what they do, how they work. And you're a kid, you think, oh, it's a game. So he said, I will keep them from seeing you, but you can see them. So I'm like, oh, okay. So when I was 18, I was in the military and I was working in an emergency room. And the tech sergeant called me from on base and said, we've had this guy that's been missing for a couple of days, and we want you to come over because, in case something's wrong with them. Basically, they thought he was dead, so they wanted us to take the body away. So we get there, and he opens up the door. He says, I'm not going in the room with you. I'm like, fine, whatever, So get in there, and he's curled up in a ball against the wall. And you can't tell whether he's alive or dead because, you can't see the breathing or anything. So the closer I get to him, the more I know that he's still alive. But then I hear a sound, and there's a demon up in the corner of the room. And I knew its intention was it was waiting for him to die, basically. So it could take his soul. And I told the guy that was with me, the tech that I had trained, his mother was a voodoo priestess. So once she found out that he was working with me, she told him, you stay with her. You stay close to her. She'll protect you. And I'm like, okay. So we get him out of there. We take him back to the ER. We put him in an exam room. I went out to get things to start an IV. When I come back in, the demon's leaning over him, trying to take the life force from him. And that's the first time Ariel came forward. And I could tell it wasn't my voice that said it. He says, she told the demon, this one belongs to us. And it vanished in a hurry. And I went and saw the young man before he left the hospital, and he said, I had the strangest dream. He said, I had a dream that a demon was trying to take my soul, and God sent a warrior angel of light, a female warrior angel, to slay the demon. And I didn't say anything. All I told him was, oh, God just telling you he has your back. So there you go.
Wow. That's so incredible. Oh my God. So sometimes I feel energies in the air and they're not mine. Okay, I really don't know how to describe this. It's just so intangible. But I as an empath, I know we could pick up on others' thoughts and things, but sometimes I feel like there's like a pool of negativity going by or something. Now, would that be demonic or just negativity?
It depends. If it's intense, then it's demonic. And usually it's like, it's good that they don't stop. It's good that they don't see you. That's why I tell people when they do investigations, if you come across something you think is negative, absolutely do not acknowledge it. To acknowledge it is to make it see you, and you don't want it to see you. But yeah, it can be intense. It can be demonic in nature. If it's not as intense, it can be just a earthbound negative spirit.
Wow, I'm taking notes here. So this is way cool. I love that. Did you have anything, Brittany?
Interesting. Yeah. Can you explain a little bit more about warrior angels and the role that they do and how they assist and help removing the negative?
Well, the thing is, there's a hierarchy in heaven, just as there is in the dark realm, and it starts with God and Jesus, and then it's the Legion of Light, which is Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Ariel, and then it's the warrior angels, and then the common angels, and then the common souls. And the Legion of Light trains the warrior angels, and you have to have absolute dedication to be a warrior angel, and you are handpicked. There are a lot of warrior angels born into physical form. Over the last 70 years, there's over 300,000 of them born into physical form. But unfortunately, there's over 3 billion of them, 300 billion of them walking the earth in spirit form. But unfortunately, when they're reborn into physical, they don't always know who and what they are. They have abilities, they know that, but other than that, a lot of times they have no clue. I was different because when I was born, I knew that I wasn't normal, that I had angelic energy. I just didn't know which angel it was, other than Michael, who was with me forever. But so a lot of them will come to me for a reading or whatever, or contact me and say, I think I have angelic energy, who and what am I? And I'll tell them the name of their angel, and I'll tell them that, whether it's a warrior angel or a plain, a common angel. And I'll tell them, this is what your mission is in this lifetime. And this is what your specialty is. Because each warrior angel has its own specialty, whether it's healing, communication, strategy, they have different facilitators, they're all different kinds. It's whatever their specialty is what they do here in the physical world.
That's so fascinating.
That's fascinating. That's so fascinating.
Yeah, I'm writing a book on warrior angels, and I'm writing a book. I've got all the information in the book. I just have to put it in the correct flow, and it's called the Angel Primer. So what it is it's basically an instruction manual for
neat.
Yeah.
I love that. Is June frozen or is it me?
I think June is frozen. Oh, there she is. Oh,
yeah.
There's only 7 archangels in the world today, and I know them all. But I'm the only out of all of them. I'm the only demon slayer. So that's the difference. Each one has their own particular specialty.
Right.
But It's all about helping those understand who and what resides within them. This is your soul, this is its name, and this is how you merge. Because you want to merge the soul consciousness with the physical consciousness. That's the only way for you to work together as one unit, so to speak. So I help them. It's a very simple process. Sometimes it takes more than one attempt at it, of course, to do it. And if it's not the right time or you're not ready, then it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's all about that.
Right.
But once the merge is complete, then you can see through that angel's eyes. You can see what she sees, hear what she hears, and know what she knows.
Wow. That's way too cool.
Yeah.
I have another little story which was interesting, and it goes into a little bit of a negative zone. So for everybody, this is your warning. I had somebody who worked on my solar plexus, and afterwards I wanted to continue the work. So I used my Reiki hands and I'm doing it. And then all of a sudden I felt this flow coming out of me of negativity. Okay. And it's like, wow, I feel like 100 people are leaving my belly. And then I got the message that no, it was 1,001 that were leaving me. And it more had to do with the depression a lot of people had from when COVID was going on and stuff.
Yeah.
I had picked up a lot of that. But as I went deeper and deeper into this, I got to a place, and the topic would be molestation. Okay. So I was clearing this energy, and then those memories came up, and I went to a place where I saw like a cathedral. It was being uprooted by these limbs coming up from the ground, like breaking the concrete and breaking the building. And what was happening was I didn't know what to do. So I to me, my job is to like you're cutting the cords,
Right.
And so I'm basically cutting cords, but I was seeing there was something different. Cutting the cord is one thing, but it has to be like burned all the way to both ends in a way.
Yes.
And so some angels were over there burning the ends, some angels over here, and then others were burning the parts in the middle. That like everybody had their part.
Yeah, everybody has their job.
Yeah. So what was that real?
That's from past.
I saw it.
Yeah, it's real. It's from past life issues, because you've been dealing with these. You've been dealing with the spiritual realm You've lived 83 lives, so you've been dealing with it in all those lifetimes.
Wow. Well, hopefully that's over. No.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know. Yeah. So that was so interesting, though. And I really didn't know what to expect or what to do. I mean, I'm sure you would have known immediately what to do, but that was just like.
Yeah, you just let them take care of it. That's their job.
Awesome.
I see here in the comments, Angie had a question here. I can't pull it up, but it says, what are the specialties of the other archangels?
One is a facilitator. My friend in Scotland's a facilitator. There's one that's a communicator in Paris. There's one in Italy that is a healer, and there's another one in the United States that's a healer as well. And then there's one more that is a strategist.
Ooh, neat. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, I have to take notes. It's the only way things will stay in my head a little bit longer than normal. So when it comes to the light and darkness on this earth, I don't know what is the ratio or what?
It's declining about almost 6 years.
Oh. Is it just me, or is she frozen again?
I think again, she'll come back there.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there's about, there's the demons have been basically influencing the earth for over the last 5 years with really, really strongly. And so God says, we're taking back the earth. says, we need, so the light's going to start spreading. So about 6 years ago, I started doing more and more battles, and I do them almost every day, one at one time or another. And the light is spreading, and the dark ones are getting more and more desperate because of that.
That's okay.
And they're
Wow.
they're trying to influence anyone and everything they can possibly do, in order to get a foothold back again. And we're not going to let them do that.
Yeah. So what's it like for you in your everyday life? Like, are you walking through the store and you can see the people have them and not have
Oh, yeah.
them? Or
Yeah.
are
I
you
can see
having
them.
times where you're just a normal person? Or is that not a thing?
Well, yeah, it's pretty much, like when I was working in the clinic, nursing in the clinics setting, it was like, you just shut down because you can't be open to all of, I can see them, I just don't deal with them when I'm, working, because I have to have my mind on the medicine
Right.
people.
Yeah.
But now I've been working from home since a year ago, August. It'll be a year. It was a year ago, August. So it's easier for me to do it. If I connect with someone over the phone and they have a negative entity attachment, I'll just remove it while I'm talking to them, Or
Right.
but a lot of times I go to the store and I see them, and unless they're causing problems, then I don't do anything. But I had one couple years ago when it was October actually, and it was dark. I was coming out of the clinic, it was after 7, and there's a short street. It's like about a half a block street. When I come out of the clinic, and the parking lot's there, and there's this demon standing at the end of the street, and I'm like staring at me, and I'm like, really? I looked at it and I said, this isn't the OK Corral. I said, if your ass isn't gone in the next 2 seconds, I said, I'll kill you. I'm not in the mood for it. And it left. They left in a hurry.
Wow.
Do you find that certain locations have stronger, more concentrated, like spiritual or negative energy rather than others? Have you ever noticed?
Yeah. When I was in Stonehenge, there was a lot of positive energy there. And when I was in Roslyn Chapel, it was the same way there too. There's a big portal in the basement at Roslyn Chapel in Scotland, and it was quite interesting because I was there with some friends that I know over there, and the older gentleman's like, he's down in the basement. I said, let's go down the basement. I said, there's something cool down there. We get down there. He says, I can hear people talking, but we're the only ones here. And he was standing right in front of a portal. I said, because you're standing right in front of a portal, Arthur. And he's like, what? What's that? I said, it's a doorway to the other side. And then we went out into there's an old cemetery behind Roslyn Chapel. And there's this one grave that has this huge monument to it. It's like an old, like a giant urn with a robe draped over it, And I told him, I said, come over here. I said, come over here and put your hand on this. And he's like, come over. And he says, and you could feel the vibration. It was a portal. And I said, come around here and look and see who it was, who's buried here. And he come around the other side. It's Reverend Brown. I said, see, even on the other side, he's sending him home.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Now you see, you find them all over the place,
So now I'm thinking about this portal that you're talking about. Back in California, there was this place, like if you're walking to a park, okay, and there's a place, and houses were not near. It was far away. You're right by the street. You can hear the cars. But some reason, about about 12 feet above the ground, you can hear like voices and not words. And I never knew what that was. And I only heard one other person mention it. Is that a portal or what?
That's a white light portal. Yeah. A dark portal is one that's created by the demons. Yeah. The white light portals are all around. There's a place in Oregon called the Oregon Vortex. And I went there as a kid, and I went back as an adult. And when I was a kid, I could see the souls coming and going through the portal. It's like, oh, this is cool. Of course, nobody else could see it. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. But it's still there. It's still active, quite active. But yeah, these portals are naturally occurring, but they're also, unfortunately, people that go out and investigate. Anytime you do, an investigation, you do EMF detection, anything like that, getting, EVPs and stuff, it opens a portal. Close the darn portal, for God's sakes. They don't do it.
Really?
They open them and they just leave them there. And it's like, okay, all kinds of
Yeah.
things come through there, Get a grip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
With such a heavy focus on the paranormal and the unseen world, how do you stay grounded in everyday life? Like, do you have any daily practices to help balance between the two, or you just?
No, it just comes naturally to me because I have like one foot on the other side and one foot here. And when I'm at home with my family, that's, that foot that's here in the physical world is firmly planted. When I'm dealing with the other side, that's a whole different situation. Like I have empathic abilities. I just shut them down because when you're dealing with the dark ones, you can't have if you're in a location and the people are having problems and you're there to help them and they start becoming fearful and anxious and stuff, then I don't want to feel sympathy for them, because when I do, the moment I do, it makes them a target. The demons will attack them.
Wow.
So I cannot afford to have any sympathy or show any emotion when it comes to that, because I don't want them a target. I don't want them to get attacked by the thing.
Wow. I just keep thinking what a rich spiritual life you must have, because you're having firsthand experience. And
yeah, some days it's like I told Michael, I said, I'd like to go on a vacation that's not a busman's holiday, Give me a break.
Yeah, I wish that for you too,
Yeah, he's like, too bad, sucks to be you. I'm like, shut up.
That's so funny.
I have another question here. For people who are drawn to the paranormal investigation and the demons, or spiritual work, what advice would you give them before starting? And are there any specific skills or mindsets that they should develop first?
Yeah, you should always, before you go to the investigation, you should always ask for God's protection. With dealing, go on the investigation, you can ask them to make sure that nothing follows you home, because they will follow you home.
Yes.
And do your investigation. And then after you get through, closing prayer and asking for God to close the portal that was just opened during the investigation. That's the best thing. If you can, invoke God during your investigation, then it's all the better. That you can't get better protection than that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. How amazing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I remember you had mentioned something about mental health issues. Sometimes people people's experiences with paranormal entities get misinterpreted for as mental health issues. How do you handle that line in between?
Well, it's simple for me because I can see the demon, or not see the demon, or see the earthbound spirit or not. If I've had times when people are like, this, I'm hearing voices and this and this and I would just tell them, that, because I know it's mental health issues, I'll just tell them, this is, what you have around you are all good, are all angelic beings. They're not going to harm you. They're not going to, be upset with you. I said, maybe you should get somebody who can talk to about it, find somebody that will help you to understand, that type of thing. I don't want to say, hey, you're crazy. Okay. You don't do that stuff, And if there is a demon there, I will remove the demon. And I will tell them, this is the reason you're hearing this, or this is the reason you're feeling like this, or experiencing that. I said, these are all, because of the demon. Once it's gone, then your life will return to normal.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's
So
neat.
fascinating. Yeah, it
So
is.
thinking about how you need a vacation for sure.
Uh,
I'm wondering, what do you do to nurture yourself? Because this has got to be work that keeps you awake sometimes and all that. I mean, how do you nurture so you could be June, who's got to do all the
well,
normals?
I do. My dogs kind of keep me grounded, because I
Ah,
have three. I have three of them, and then of course my husband and my son. But for the most part, I'm able to separate myself from the spiritual side and to the home side. And I write my books. I have
ah,
three going on at the same time right now, and
ah,
so I take a lot of the information that I get from the other side and put it into the books, and it just keeps me grounded in that way as well.
wow. I love that.
I love that.
Um,
So
we're getting,
I have long conversations with God and the Legion. But yeah.
uh, so I have one more question and then we'll jump to the three questions. If someone knows that or feels strongly that they are having a demon attack, what is the first thing they should do? Like you're saying, pray for God's
Yeah,
protection or seek
yeah,
somebody to help. What
yeah.
is it?
If it's just like a temporary attachment, if it's just something that's a weak attachment, then basically the sooner you act, the better. The longer the demon stays attached, the worse it is.
Oh boy.
So, because a lot of times what demons will do is they will stalk the person. They can watch you, learn your strengths, learn your weaknesses, learn, if your faith is strong, if you're easily influenced. They can watch you for years and you don't even have a clue. I mean, because they got all the time in the world. We don't, but they do. So they should, if they're sure that this is what it is, they should get help. If they belong to a church, I would talk to the pastor or minister and say, hey, I'm having these issues. Can you help? You know, but some of them will say, oh, you're just crazy,
Ah,
unfortunately.
oh no.
But then you have to seek out someone like a deliverance minister, somebody like that. My book that I released last year called Demon Seer, The Awakening, it talks about what's going on in the world today and stuff, but there are really good chapters in there, one on how to help yourself
Oh
and
yay.
one on where to find help and one for protection. And I've talked to Father Ron Vial of the Order of St. Michael's of Exorcists out of LA. He's a friend of mine. And I put Keith Johnson and his brother information in there, and I put a lot of good, links and things like that in the book for people to find help with. If they can't get to me or whatever, then they can contact one of them as well.
Oh, I love that. Um, More comments from Angie. We were missing. Go to the Bahamas and
Good old Angie. I know Angie.
oh,
Yeah, yeah. Stay away from the hurricanes.
and so I really like this next question though that Angie has, and then we'll do the three questions. I'm sorry. Let me get this glasses. What's the biggest indication between someone who wants to be evil and someone who has a demonic attachment?
Biggest indication is the person that wants to be evil will seek it out. The
Okay.
people that don't want to be evil, you know, will not seek it out. And the demons will find you. That's the thing. You don't have to find it. As people used to tell me, I remember the first time I spoke at the Body, Mind, and Spirit Expo, people they wanted me to speak about angels. And I'm like, no, I'm going to talk about the dark side of the paranormal. And I was late getting into my lecture to give my lecture, and the place was like standing room only. I'm like, okay, you know. And the Reiki masters, I have friends that are Reiki masters, and they come to me and they said, we want to thank you for giving the talk on that because so many people don't want to deal with it, don't want to, that we've been taught that you shouldn't think about it, you shouldn't read about it, you shouldn't, do anything to do with it, because they'll find you, And I told them, I said, listen, if they want to find you, they don't need any help. They'll find you.
Yeah.
No problem.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um,
Hmm.
Brittany, would you like to do the 3 questions today?
No, okay. I know he pushed this on me, Teresa. I know that if you had a song to describe your life right now, what would it be?
Unstoppable.
Ooh,
Ooh, I
neat.
like that. I like that. Yeah.
Unstoppable. I
And
love it.
what's your favorite crystal to currently work with?
I like selenite
Yes.
and I like
Ooh.
quartz.
Ooh, beautiful, beautiful. And the last question you remember, Brittany?
No, remind me again, Teresa.
Have you ever seen any or had any contact with UFOs or extra dimensional beings?
Yes, unfortunately. Um, with there are such creatures called ancient demons, and reptilians serve them, and they
Oh
serve
wow!
them because they live in fear of them. Because you think Lucifer's bad, these ancient demons are like, 1,000 times worse. And I've been having to kill them lately, so they're not
Wow!
happy with me, needless to say. But when I was pregnant, I was about 8 months pregnant, and it was summer, and I was laying on a couch. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't sleep. And we had a big picture window at the time, which was the couch was under the picture window. And I look out to my field, and I'm looking at the sky, and I see this thing moving really, really quick. And then it came down, and it was like settled right above the field, my field. I have 3 acres. And I'm like, I heard in my mind, I heard what these negative entities were thinking. And I'm like, oh crap. So I closed myself down. And then the minute I closed myself down, it took off.
Oh
I'm like, I didn't like what they were thinking. They're looking for people with abilities so that they can basically breed them into their people.
Wow.
wow! I love that.
So I
So
would rather not be around them.
Right, right.
there were a lot of comments, and I didn't really get to all of them. So I apologize to all of you there. But what I'm wondering, June, is you want to go ahead and shamelessly plug your latest book and tell people where to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I have a book that I released in June called Dark Encounters. It's 15 of my worst real life encounters with the dark
Wow!
ones.
Wow!
And I have in works the Angel Primer, and it's basically a how to manual for warrior angels born into the physical world. It teaches them how to protect themselves, how to create uh, energy swords, how to create infinity
Ooh,
orbs, all types of things.
Hmm.
oh, that sounds exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And then I
love
have
that.
another one called Shadow Hunters, which it's fantasy based on reality.
Oh, yeah, I
That's
like
really
that.
interesting.
Well, thank you, June. We'll have to have you back more often. It's been a long, long time since the last time, and
Yeah, it
so
has been a while. Yeah. Yes.
because you've
Yeah.
done so much, and it's like, oh my God, I'm so not caught up, and so I appreciate you coming and visiting with us today, and I hope that we see you again. Do you have any more
Oh.
last?
If you want to get my books, just go onto Amazon and type in my name, and you'll find them.
Yeah, that's where
Great.
they are. Brittany, you have any last things that you would like to
No,
say to?
no, I just think this conversation was great and it was amazing, and I'm happy and thankful and so much gratitude to be a part of it. So
It's good to meet both. Good to meet you, new person. Good to see Teresa again.
Thank
All right,
you.
you guys take care of yourselves, okay?
All
you
right,
too.
I'm looking for the brand right now there, and then I'll go out with that. Thank you so much.